My name is Jaime Effinger, and today I'm a business ethics speaker, and you all are the Executives Association of Mississippi. What would you do if your employees' actions ended up costing you over $200 million? This is something that no executive wants to face, but is too often a reality as companies have to answer for the unethical actions and decisions made by their employees. Today, we're going to briefly look at a few companies who have struggled with business ethics, a few companies who have gotten business ethics right, and then focus on 5 ways that all companies can improve in this area. Last year, Wells Fargo found themselves in this type of situation, having to pay over $200 million in fines and settlement claims after over 5,000 employees were caught using improper business practices to open unauthorized accounts in order to reach sales goals and receive bonuses. And Wells Fargo isn't alone. Over the last couple years, companies like Volkswagen, Toshiba, Goldman Sachs, and Turing Pharmaceuticals have all had to answer for the unethical actions of their employees. Now, intentional or unintentional decisions, like the ones made by employees of these companies, can end up costing a company a lot of money, and not to mention the reputation, and can put others at great risk. I'm sure this makes you wonder how these companies and these employees find themselves in such terrible positions and how you can prevent this from happening at your company. Now, it's not all bad. There are many companies who strive to operate ethically. Companies like Aflac, Starbucks, GE, and UPS are all known for being incredibly ethical companies with great practices and a corporate culture that promotes doing business the right way. Regardless of how a company is perceived ethically, the Harvard Business Review says that there are 5 main ways that companies are inadvertently creating an environment that provokes good people with good intentions to make unethical decisions. The first is that you may be creating an environment that is psychologically unsafe to speak up. Over 10 years ago, when WorldCom collapsed with the biggest fraud in corporate history, many mid-level accountants found themselves facing possible jail time because they were too afraid to speak up about the fraud that they knew was going on in their company. Leadership actions and policies have a huge impact on how fearful employees will be to speak up when faced in these types of situations. It's crucial to create an environment that encourages speaking up when faced with ethical issues in order to prevent misconduct and collusion. The second is that you may be creating excessive pressures and incentives to reach unrealistic goals. And this is, in essence, what happened at Wells Fargo, when over 2 million fraudulent accounts were opened just to reach goals and receive bonuses. Unrealistic goal setting encourages and promotes compromising choices. Typically, employees will feel forced to either cut corners in order to reach these goals or to lie in reporting about how much was actually achieved. It's important to avoid creating this tunnel vision effect with your employees where they become so focused in on reaching goals and receiving incentives that they lose sight of everything important around them. The third is that you may be creating conflicting goals that provoke a sense of unfairness with employees. Now, I know trade-offs are common and often necessary in order to reach goals and attain growth within a company, but sometimes these can create conflicts and put a strain on employees, which can provoke a sense of unfairness. And typically, once that happens, it's followed by some sort of compromising choices. Research shows that there's a clear correlation between an employee's sense of fairness and their conscious effort to make harmful choices for the company. The fourth is that you may not be talking about business ethics enough. Many companies only find themselves talking about business ethics once a scandal breaks on the news or only as part of their routine compliance program. But it's important to reinforce the relative value of principles relative to choices and to create connections between everyday business activities and ethical decisions. It's also important to talk about the positive ethical behavior examples and not just the negative what not to do ones that we tend to focus on. Lastly, sometimes enough of a positive example isn't being set. You, as leadership and executives, have to accept that you are held to a higher standard. You set the tone at the top for everything, from how situations are handled, conflicts are confronted, and ultimately, how ethically business is conducted. You have the biggest impact on how your employees conduct business. So I urge you to think about these 5 areas and evaluate your company on them. Because even with the best intentions and the best policies, it can be easy for a company to inadvertently create an environment that makes their employees feel forced to make imperative choices. And once imperative choices are made, it could end up costing you millions. Thank you.